Hello everybody watching, and today I already have the giggles from the off because before we've started today I've just had a little practice run and I've enjoyed myself so much on my own. And to let you know, this is called the Artist Takeover and it's for the Artcore gallery, and over time, whilst we're all in isolation, we're all taking turns just to share a little bit about ourselves as an artist and what we enjoy doing, what our inspiration is, and hopefully bring a little joy to your day. So, for you that have met me, you'll know my name's Marie, and I am a freelance artist. I'm also a creative expressive arts facilitator. And last year, I decided to set up my own creative arts business, and the name came from a childhood nickname which my brother gave me, and he used to call me ScraggyMoo. And I thought this was a brilliant name for a business because it's all about the essence of having fun and not worrying about making mistakes, what something looks like, as long as you could just lose yourself in a process and let yourself float away whilst you're painting or doing a collage. Or with myself, I love playing with materials and bits of mosaic and fabric. I think that's really important, just to let yourself go and to be like a child and just to explore things. So quite often, here's a little basket of goodies. I collect things when I'm out and about, and all these bits and bobs were collected from the seaside. So I'll walk along the beach, find some broken glass, very carefully transport it home in a little box, pebbles, shells, ropes, bits and bobs, and I just take it home to see what I can do with afterwards. And it might be weeks or maybe months before I use it again, but I know one day I'll get around to using it. So anyway, I will go off on tangents at times, but please bear with me. I will make some sense sometime. So, I'm deeply inspired by nature, and there's two passions of mine in my life. So when people ask me, who am I inspired by, or maybe artists, I always think, well, for me, it's a very natural process how I'm inspired. So, from the sensory stimulation from being outdoors in nature, being around all the sights, the sounds, the smells, the feelings of things. So, if you say you're wearing flip flops, or you take them off when you're on the beach and you feel the nice warm heat from the sand, or it might be the nice cool green grass, it just gives you a feeling and a connection to a place. And I find I can capture the spirit of a place by using lots of materials, because rather than do something 2D or just with a pen or paint, I feel when I'm lifting the surface by using different objects and materials, it becomes like a landscape or seascape where there's so many textures and shapes and sizes and feelings around it. And I like to capture this in our work. So I'll show you a piece of work that I've done. You may have clocked it from the fireplace, but I'll bring it closer for you to have a look at. So this is a picture. Let's see. Whoop, it's not too wonky, or is it? It's really hard to map it out on the screen when you're at home and you're going live. You're like, what's the best shot here? Maybe this way? So this is a piece I've been creating whilst in isolation, and it's for my parents. And it's just because I was thinking of all the family holidays we've been on, and growing up, our family holidays were all about visiting our grandparents. So we would go to Folkestone, where my mum's parents lived, or we'd go to Ireland, where my dad grew up on a farm. And recently we went on a holiday to Cornwall. So whilst I've been in isolation, I've been thinking about all these happy family memories, and I've created this to share with them. And I think they'll be really surprised to know that when I was a little girl, I used to look up at this picture on the wall at my parents' house. So there you go, I hope you can see it. and it's of a little Irish cottage. And it's really, really simple. It's just a photograph with some stones and some pretend grass and things. But I remember as a child being really impressed by this and never seen anything like it. Oh, I've just had a floating tagline come across the room mysteriously by my husband, Kirky, and it said to ask people to comment in the box, which is a very good point, and maybe ask questions, because I do talk very fast, so if you're not sure about anything I've been rambling on about, or you might like to learn more, please fire away. Let me know that you're there. Hello, Kerry Young. Thank you. Beautiful, colourful setting. Yay! Inside out. So this is why our house is all colours. I think at first our house was very much cream and white, but over time it's gone orange and turquoise and blue in different rooms. So yes, a lot of my artwork breathes through the home. So if you think of the psychology of colour and feng shui, the effect and the impact colour can have on your mental health and your well-being, I love to embrace that in the home. Oh, what is the holiday call I've made for Marie? Very good question. Thanks for your question, Carrie Young. So this, if I bring it closer, ooh, is bits and bobs found on the beach. So they're stones from the beach. I've popped them on the boat and coloured in the windows. I've got pebbles. I've got some fabric from a friend who makes dresses from African print material. And my brother, who is a carpenter, gave me all these leftover tiles. There's some sparkly ones there. So when he does jobs and has leftover materials, he sends them to me, and he knows I might get up to something with them. And the big wave at the bottom, it's really interesting doing a mirror image, is a little bit of clay that I had left over one time, and I thought it made a really interesting wave. I'm really sorry I haven't got a good camera angle. I find it impossible to stay in the middle, but I have great fun doing this because every time I place a piece of the fabric or a stone on the picture, I'm thinking of a memory. So the whole time I'm creating this on canvas, I'm just so happy, not only just painting and just being free from any thoughts. I remember the times I spent with my family, and it just makes me so happy. So I really hope that people can find that in their lives, if it's through art or a creative experience or whatever you do in your leisure time. I think it just helps you to feel at peace, and when I do my art, I feel such content. So for me, I can go on for a long story now, but I've learned to do art from going to college, but way before then. When I was a child, my parents always had bits and bobs around the house and the garden, so I was always playing with materials. And my very first art exhibition, in fact, was at primary school. And it's amazing, you think, how can something at such a young age make such a big impact on your life? But it can, because I always believe that you're never too small to dream big. So I think sometimes in life you can get some, say, setbacks, but keep going and keep true with your own little drum and your own self. So I think very often you can be driven, but what's the purpose? What's the meaning behind it? And why are you doing things? Are you doing it for other people? Are you doing it for yourself? So for me, I have always loved doing art, just playing when I was young. And I thought, why not keep doing that as I get older? Because you can easily get distracted in adulthood and, you know, act like a grown-up, however that should be. But yes, I just think do what makes you happy and learn from others. So I've done lots of things over time and I've had big moments. So going back to when I was at primary school, I won a Christmas art exhibition, and I remember purposely forgetting to take it to school every day, and my mum saying, "Have you got it in your bag?" And I thought, I'm not taking it because it's rubbish, and so I deliberately kept leaving it in my room, and I couldn't believe it when I won first prize, and it was like a £5 gift voucher at WH Smith, and I remember buying some Sylvanian figures. But it blew my mind. I was so happy. I couldn't believe it, to actually get acknowledged for something I love doing. And for the first time, thinking, oh, wow, trying to shape an identity for yourself, thinking, oh, am I an artist? Um, so as I grew up, I went off and did different things, and I always loved art at secondary school. And when I left school with lots of different grades, but I had an A star in art. But then I went into nursery nursing and realised I hadn't been doing any art apart from being creative with the children, but recognising that when I worked with children, that when they played in an activity room with toys compared to a creative room where they could play with paints, Play-Doh, sand and water, the children used to open up about their family lives and maybe their dreams and different things. And I thought, there's something in this, the way they're playing. So the process of an activity. So an end result could be a sandcastle, but whilst they had their hands playing and lifting and trickling the sand or with the water, or if they were feeling frustrated, they could rip into the Play-Doh. For there's something in this. And then a few weeks later, one of my grandmothers passed away. And at that time, a very close friend of mine invited me to do a weekend course in mosaics. And I thought, oh, I've never done mosaic, I'll go off and do the course. And I remember at the time just being miles and miles away, completely forgetting about everybody in the room until an aeroplane flew over. And I remember being so taken back because for the very first time in my life, I'd done art which was therapeutic to me. So I wasn't copying an artist study with oil pastels for a reason to meet criteria at school. I was just doing art as something that I enjoyed doing, and I thought there could be something in this. So I left my job where I worked as a nursery nurse for 5 years. I went back to college full time to do a 2-year course and did a general national diploma in art and design. Now, during that time, all of the subjects that we studied never intermixed the materials. So I would say I'm a self-taught artist, because if you did clay, you made a pot. If you did textiles, you did a wall hanging. And if you worked with metal, you had to make a piece of jewellery. And it was very systematic, it was very structured, and I struggled a little bit because I still felt like, although I was experimenting with all these different materials, I wasn't being able to express my mind and my imagination and just be free. And I knew these frustrations were my own. So, the college system had to be in place for a reason, for that criterion, for marking, and I understood that. But I researched a career in art therapy. So I found the course of my dreams in Derby University, and I did BA Honours in Creative Expressive Therapies, and it was just hilarious because it was just a great way to express yourself. And quite often I think I surprised people because they thought I was quite dramatic and expressive, so they couldn't quite believe it when they asked me what pathway I was on, and I would say art, because you could choose music, dance, drama or movement as part of your degree course. But I absolutely loved it because it encouraged you to let go of any inhibitions that you might have. So For some people, when I came back from university who were doing a more serious degree, would say, are you even doing a real course? Because I would come home saying, I've been a dinosaur today, or oh, we built a circus tent, or I did some art, and I, just played. Like, what is this? But it was great, because I think until you know yourself, and until you not always experience hard things in life, but I think when you've turned lots of corners and experienced lots of different emotions in different ways through life experiences, you're able to have a lot of empathy with others. And I've realised whilst I was at uni that afterwards I wanted to use the art to work with other people. So I went to work for Rethink Mental Illness. After lots of different things, I have volunteered for Headway, Northampton, and I've worked for Artcore as a volunteer and done lots of different things over the years. But for me, at the time when I left university, I knew people very close to me that had depression and who were thinking the only way to escape their pain was to escape this life, if you like. And that sadness, I really wanted to reach out to people, because if you can just lift that for half an hour or for an hour of someone's day, and think, just in those moments when you've done a collage with someone, or printmaking, or just played with lots of random materials, if you know you could have just helped lift grief, stress, or drama in people's lives where they can just forget about it for a little while, there's nothing that brings me more joy. So I'm so happy to have found something I love doing in my own time. It helps me in life. And then, like I said, there's no better joy than sharing that with others. And so I've got a lot of people to thank. So my family, my friends, the tutors on my course that always believed in me. So when I was at university from 2007 to 2010, at the end of year show, I created 7 big collages, and the number 7 represented the amount of people in my family, and here were 5 skeleton hearts that represent me and my brothers. And it's amazing because I created 7 pieces in a week. But the most amazing thing about that is that my lecturer had faith in me. So in the last year, I really struggled. I didn't know what I was going to do for my end of year show, but she said, Marie, I believe in you, and I trust that if you're going to do it, you will. And I said I had an idea, and it was to return to my journals, where that's where I felt I wasn't creating to impress people. I was releasing emotions or times in my life. And so the idea of these frames was not to judge a book by its cover. And we never know what's going on in people's lives. So it's one of my favourite quotes is, in a world where you can be anything, be kind. So this frame captures lots of pictures of my family and quotes and sayings. Let's see, I'm not very good at doing mirroring. I need to practice this. But the idea was, I captured all the times in my life that I was experiencing. So while I was at university, I was experiencing bereavement, being away from family, holidays, falling in love, lots of different things. And I could capture all this inside the frame and then close it again. So the idea, in a way as well, is safe containment. So opening up when you feel ready to express yourself, but when you need to feel safe, just to Know when you need to rest and take some time to yourself. Ha! I think I have jabbered on and talked a long time already. If I just quickly review a few questions that I was asked earlier, and that was who my biggest inspiration was. And I would definitely say it was my granddad, and he was such a lovely man. And he always had a pipe in his mouth, a scarf around his neck, and his little dog by his side. And he always took a big interest in my life and my art. So he's my inspiration. I'd like to thank you all for listening to today. Sorry if I get a little bit emotional at times talking to people, but then hopefully you can realise this video is really real and live, and I love you all. I hope you keep safe and well, and I hope you keep asking me any questions after today, and join me another time. You take care. Bye bye.